Today we're talking about 7 ways to change your money behavior as you go into 2025. And what I mean by money behavior is how to get better at saving money, how to get better at budgeting, and how to stop impulse buying and excessive shopping. If you're new to this channel, I have had a very long journey of being an extreme shopaholic, only of which I have curbed in the last year, maybe 6 months. And I have tried endless times to budget and stop shopping and start saving, and I failed miserably up until now. I have figured it out. I have cracked the code. This is what has worked for me. And so I've basically written down every single step. And these steps I had taken in the past, but collectively I never did them together until now. And so I'm just going to go over what works for me. I just want to be clear. I'm not saying it'll work exactly for you. You have to find your own method, but maybe you can take one or a few or maybe all of these things and implement them if you want to get better at saving, at budgeting, and curbing your shopping addiction. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few pieces of information. Things that either stuck with me because I heard them recently and they really apply to this process, or things that I just discovered along this journey. The first is that budgeting is empowering. And this is not something I thought of or realized in the beginning. And in the very beginning, it's actually not that empowering. It feels like you're losing a lot of what you were able to buy. It feels like scarcity is the best way I can describe it when I first started budgeting. But as you go along and you realize that you have full control over your finances and what you spend money on, like when you look at the real details, and you start to see your savings grow, you start to just feel more and more empowered, and it kind of just becomes a snowball effect. Like it just picks up steam and you keep wanting to do more and more and more, which is a great feeling and not something I anticipated feeling during this journey. Second, I did not make this up, but this is so freaking true. Self-worth and self-confidence comes from doing hard things. And hard things can mean a bunch of different things in life. For me, if you watched any of my previous videos, you will have heard me say that I shopped excessively due to low self-esteem. And that's true. And I'm not saying I'm completely cured, but this was really hard for me to do. Like, it is a sincere, extreme addiction that I had. And I had a fear of looking at my bank account and money, and I felt out of control, and I felt like I didn't know how to get it in control. I don't think I tied some of my self-esteem to that, or my lack of self-esteem to that. But what I have found is that I feel stronger and I feel better, and I do feel more confident. I have a clear plan of where I'm going, and my self-worth and importance, like I'm putting it less on those material things that I relied on so heavily. Getting control of my finances had a profound impact on the way I feel about myself. And it's not something I also anticipated. It's true. Self-worth and self-confidence comes from doing hard things. So if you feel like you have not, like me, been able to get your money under control, your shopping under control, I promise you it will take a while. It is not instant, but as you go through the process, I promise you, you will see the benefits, not only financially, but also emotionally. And we're not in the steps yet, by the way. I just want to get this stuff out there. So it's just like thoughts and things that I've had in my mind that I just want to tell you. The next one is, don't take advice from people who are not where you want to be, like further ahead. There are a lot of, I'm sorry for this beeping. I think it's a smoke alarm. It's really annoying. So I'm sorry. There are a lot of financial influencers or influencers who talk about money on YouTube, and that's fine. It is entertainment. I hope I am entertainment, but don't take money advice from me. Like, learn from my lessons. Yes, like I do have some experience. Like, don't basically, don't do what I did to mess things up. But don't take money advice from me, okay? I'm not where you want to be, I don't think. And so there are a lot of other influencers, and some of them I actually enjoy watching, but some of them offer coaching, financial coaching now, and financial courses. And I'm like, just because you are in debt and got out of debt 3 or 4 years ago and have learned about it through books, I don't feel like you're fully qualified, especially if you're not $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in your 401k and a big savings and really successful. Take advice from the people who are where you want to be, or maybe even where you don't even know if you could ever get. I think that that's an effective tool. I'll take advice. I don't love Dave Ramsey all the time, but I think the guy went to school for finances. He's been in this thing for 3 decades. He's got a multi-million-dollar media business and financial business. So the guy has walked the walk. Just be careful who you are taking advice from, because there are so many people out there on TikTok and YouTube that I'm sure mean well, but, are they where you want to be? If they're not, just, use it as extra entertainment or background noise, use me as background noise, but don't take advice from them at all. The last one before we get into the steps, understand dopamine. So, especially when it comes to shopping, whatever you spend money on, realize what is happening. Andrew Huberman explained this best. He explained dopamine like a wave pool. And so this was what was happening to me when I was just shopping. I was basically online every day, just scrolling through different online stores. And then I'd probably buy something once a week or a few things at the end of the month. But it came out to tens of thousands of dollars sometimes, or at least thousands of dollars. So Andrew Huberman explains dopamine like a wave pool. Okay, we all have a baseline of dopamine. And when you go shopping, at least for me, when I went shopping, I got waves, right? I got a wave of dopamine. The problem is that the more I did that, the waves would crash out of the pool. And then my baseline of dopamine would drop. And so I get another wave going because I'm shopping again. And then water falls out of the pool, and then my baseline drops more. And so because of this, I need to shop more and more to get my dopamine up. And then it's just this vicious cycle. So I didn't even know, I knew about dopamine in a very far sense, but I didn't understand it. I wasn't cued into my body or my mind when I was shopping, so I wasn't paying attention to what was actually happening. Just understand at least how dopamine works. Okay, let's get into the 7 steps I would take to change my behavior now if I was just starting out. Step 1 is change who you compare yourself to. I did this without actually knowing what I was doing, but this is very effective and very important. Change who you compare yourself to. What I learned is that it's not enough to just stop following certain influencers who are causing you to shop excessively or want to buy more than you actually need. And it's not enough to just remove yourself from retailers' marketing emails. I suggest what I would do is go one step further and not only remove the influencers, I would not only remove them from my life and get rid of all those retailers' emails, but I would also change my algorithm in TikTok and in YouTube or whatever social media platform you're on. I would change my algorithm to be anybody in self-improvement, anybody in personal finance, anybody into minimalism, anybody into budgeting, saving, and then also if you have any other hobbies on the side that don't necessarily cost a lot of money, that as well. Because here's the thing, is that when I was going through this, it can feel kind of lonely because I don't really have a lot of people in my life who will talk about money or who are into talking about money and who want to discuss budgeting and saving, even self-improvement. I'm big into self-improvement, and I don't have a lot of people in my life who will want to talk about that all of the time. And so I basically surrounded myself virtually with people who did that. So if you go into TikTok now, or if you go into my YouTube feed now, it is all people that are talking about the thing that I'm focused on getting better at right now. And as you start to listen to it more and more, the different types of budgeting and types of saving and minimalism or whatever it is will become the norm. And then you'll start to look at excessive shopping in a whole different way. And you'll see everything that is wrong with consumerism and materialism. It'll happen organically and subconsciously. So get rid of the influencers that are pushing you to buy and fill your feed with everything that is good for you financially and mentally. The second thing I would do if I was doing this again, which is I already did this, and this was extremely effective for me, but if I had to do it again, this is obviously what I would do, is pick up a book. Find a good book and read it. Either audiobook or actually read it. And the reason why I say a book, the book that literally changed my life and turned this all around for me was I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. That book had such a significant impact in my life that if I had not picked it up, I don't know if I would be here right now. It literally changed everything. So either pick that one up or, Dave Ramsey has a few books. Just Google it, look at reviews, find a book. The reason why I say a book as opposed to just watching YouTube videos or listening to podcasts, because those are good as you're going through the journey and going through the process. Always do that. But a book has everything you need to know and everything you need to do in sequential order to get your finances in order, to get your savings in order, to get your budgeting in order. So it basically lays it out for you, step 1 to step 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then you have the framework to work within. Then you start on your budgeting and saving journey. Then you find your favorite financial YouTubers or podcast or whatever. But find a book, pick up a book, audio or reading, and go through it. So you change your algorithms. You're starting to learn more about finances through YouTube and TikTok and whatever. You're looking into healthier habits. You've picked up the book. You're reading the book. While you're reading the book, this is what you're going to start doing. You're going to start decluttering your life. Go through your closets, go through your bathroom, go through your kitchen, go through your living room, and literally take out all of the stuff that you have not used in a year or longer, or that you have no more use for, and donate it or get rid of it. But before you do, put that stuff in a giant pile. It will really make you realize how much money you spent on wasteless stuff, and that none of this stuff, for the most part, had likely a big impact in your life, and you probably could have lived without it. I was really lucky in that after I read this book and I went through this and I started going through this personal finance journey, my boyfriend and I were moving. So it was built in. I had to go through all of it. And as we were moving, I was just disgusted with everything that we had. And I was like, we don't need any of this. We could literally leave the house with 10% of our stuff and be okay. If you actually, if you want to take it a step further, total up how many thousands of dollars you likely have in stuff that you do not need. And to take it one step further, not only after we moved, all of our stuff is downstairs. He wouldn't get rid of a lot of it. We're going to do another declutter when we move. But I decluttered so much of my clothing. I came here and then I did another 2 declutters after that. I am finally to a point where I have massive amounts of space in my closet and in my drawers, and it feels so good. But I have not donated yet. I still have bins and bins of clothes that I look at every single day, and I just feel sick to my stomach because, oh my God, it is just so much money wasted. The next thing you want to do before you start budgeting is do a bank audit. Do a bank audit. I did mine. I did this as I was reading I Will Teach You to Be Rich. and I did a bank audit of 6 months, I believe, 3 to 6 months. I can't remember exactly. So I started with, I get paid X monthly. Then I broke down all of my fixed expenses, the expenses that are absolutely necessary to live. Then I broke down all of my monthly expenses that were just discretionary. I can do without them. I don't need them. And I've said this before in other videos, but it blew my mind. I had no idea what I was spending. My discretionary spending percentage was over the percentage of my fixed costs, which it should not be that way. Like, absolutely not. I was spending, this is why I was in the red every month, which it sounds stupid, but I couldn't figure it out. It's because I was spending way more than I was making. And I just remember sitting on the couch and going through the numbers like, oh my God. I went through my subscriptions. I went through just Amazon, everything. And the amount of money I was spending on stuff that I really didn't need when I compiled it together was shocking. So do a bank audit thoroughly and figure out everything discretionary that you could probably get rid of and live without. All right, the next one. Oh, I need to sit down. Okay. I was sitting on my knees. The next one is find a budgeting system. And this might take you a little while, and know that going in and just be okay with it. Because I know I hear a lot of people, especially on Reddit, talk about how people get discouraged because they might try a certain budgeting app, doesn't work for them, and then they kind of just give up. It's kind of like a diet. Like, it doesn't work, you have a cheat day, and then you just go back to eating bad. Don't do that, because there's a budgeting method for everyone. You just have to find what works for you. And there are budgeting sheets on Etsy that you can buy. There is an Excel spreadsheet that you can use. I use the Quick and Simplify app, and this was the third app I tried. And this is the one that I'm sticking with long term because it works best for me. A lot of people love You Need a Budget app. A lot of people love the Monarch app. You just have to find the budgeting method that works, and don't be scared to try out different versions until you find what works best for you. And then also, not only on just the tool, but you can also start to ask ChatGPT for all the different budgeting methods, or do a YouTube search or a TikTok search or a Google search on the different types of, not tools, but budgeting methods, because you might also find that there's a budgeting method that you might want to stick with. For example, there is a budgeting method called zero-based budgeting, meaning every single dollar in your account goes to something. Every dollar has a job. You don't have any money in your bank account just sitting there collecting dust, right? Every dollar has a job. There's also the 50-30-20 rule. 50% goes to fixed expenses, 30% goes to discretionary, and 20% goes to savings. So just find out. I don't actually follow a specific budgeting method. It's really the tool that I rely on, which is the Quick and Simplify app, and that keeps me in line, and it just helps me make sure that I know what bills are coming up and that I'm always spending less than what I'm making. So find your budgeting tool, find your budgeting method, and stick with it. The last thing is to have a financial date with yourself. And what I mean by this is that figure out something that you can look forward to that will help you go through your budget in detail every month. And this can look like going to your favorite cafe, bringing your computer, and going through it for an hour or two. Or maybe you just like to stay at home. Maybe you're with your partner and you do this together, and you get a glass of wine, you have dinner, and then you go over finances together or alone for an hour or two. My financial date, I look at my budgeting app every single day because I like to see what's going on. I like to categorize transactions, but my financial date every single month is with you guys. And it's something I look forward to. Every month, I sit down and I do a monthly budget recap or reset where on video, I go over with you what I spent in the month prior and what my budget is for the month going ahead. And so you can either do that on video. Maybe you want to do it short form like TikTok or Instagram, or maybe you want to do long form like YouTube, or maybe you want to do it alone at a cafe. Basically what I'm saying is like go on a financial date with yourself or somebody else and just put it into your calendar and do it monthly. And the last thing is just, this is not another step. We went through the 7 steps, but I just want to end with figure out what your goal is. Get a goal, whether it's a micro goal or a big goal, or maybe you have a micro and a large goal, and figure out what you're working towards and act according to that goal, or do your best. And just know, honestly, this has not been easy, and it's still not easy, but it's getting easier, and it's becoming financially smart, or even financially conscious of like what I'm doing and how I'm feeling and where my money is going. It's definitely been a journey, but it's becoming more innate in me, and it's becoming part of me. Like before I had to like really try and put effort in, but now it's just becoming part of my routine every single day, every single week, every single month. So those are the steps I would take to change my money and shopping behaviors as I go into 2025. If you are planning on making a change in the new year, I'd love to know what it is, especially if it's financial. That's interesting. And if there's anything in here that I didn't mention that you think is worth noting in terms of like goal setting or making changes, then leave it below. I'd love to know, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.